Welcome to Red-tastic. I am a 24 female, and I need some advice on a complicated family situation that's been causing a lot of stress. My older brother, 30 male, introduced us to his now wife, 29 female, close to a year ago. From the very first day we met, it was clear that she didn't like me. She's extremely loud, always talking over others, crude-mannered, and seems to crave being the center of attention. My family and I are quite the opposite. We're more reserved, soft-spoken, and value listening as much as talking. I think my demeanor rubbed her the wrong way. She seemed to take my quiet nature as a personal insult. Like I wasn't being enthusiastic enough about her joining our family. There were a couple of instances where she took offense at things I didn't even realize could be offensive. The first incident happened during a family dinner shortly after we met. I was sitting next to her, and as usual, I was listening more than talking. She never lets anybody else talk anyway. Out of nowhere, she turned to me and said, "Do you have a problem with me or something?" I was startled and replied, "No, not at all. Why do you ask?" She said, "Well, you're just sitting there silently, making me feel like I'm not welcome." I tried to explain that I was just listening and that I appreciated her being there, but she seemed unconvinced and spent the rest of the evening giving me cold looks. The second incident was when she invited me to go shopping with her. I'm not a big fan of shopping sprees, but I thought it might be a good opportunity to bond. During the trip, she tried on a series of very flashy outfits and asked for my opinion on each one. I told her that they looked good on her, but they weren't really my style, so I'm probably not the best one she should consult. She got upset and accused me of judging her fashion sense, saying things like, "Just because you dress like a librarian doesn't mean everyone else has to." I was hurt and confused because I wasn't trying to be judgmental. Sometime around that, I decided to talk to my brother about these incidents. I approached him and explained how I felt and thought he might offer some insight or help mediate the situation. Instead, he brushed it off and told me to just bear with her because she means well. He seemed unwilling to address the issue, which was disappointing. My mom, on the other hand, immediately took a disliking to her. She felt that sister-in-law was disrespectful and voiced her concerns to my brother, which caused tension between them. My dad tried to stay neutral, but admitted privately that he wasn't a big fan either. Fast forward to 3 months ago, when their wedding was approaching, about 3 weeks after the big day, my brother and sister-in-law visited me at my place. They handed me a typed list of conditions to follow at the wedding. It included specifics about the dress color. I was to wear beige, the type of dress, ankle length, no patterns, makeup minimal, hair tied up in a bun, and even the kind of shoes I could wear. I was taken aback. Then they said I wasn't to sit at the family table during the reception. In fact, I was to sit at a table at the back with some of their friends I barely knew. I asked why I was being excluded from my own family table. Sister-in-law looked me straight in the eye and said, "I only want positive energy at my wedding, and you don't bring that." I was stunned. I looked at my brother, but he just sat there silently. I told them that if they felt that way, perhaps it would be better if I didn't attend the wedding at all. Sister-in-law shrugged and said, "If that's what you want." I replied, "It seems that's what you want." They left shortly after. When my parents found out what happened, they were furious. My mom called my brother and tore into him, but he defended sister-in-law, saying it was a special day and she had the right to make such decisions. My parents decided to boycott the wedding, and the word quickly spread through the family. Many relatives were appalled by how I was treated and chose to side with us, which resulted in half the venue being empty on their wedding day, as we later heard. After the wedding, my brother and sister-in-law were livid. They blew up our phones with angry messages and voicemails, accusing us of ruining their special day. They took to Facebook and Instagram, posting passive-aggressive statuses about fake family and jealous relatives. It was messy. Then my aunt, mom's sister, publicly clapped back on one of their posts, saying, "Maybe if you hadn't excluded your own sister from the wedding, you wouldn't have had so many empty seats at your wedding." This comment gained a lot of attention, and shortly after, sister-in-law took down all her posts and they both went silent. For months, we didn't hear a peep from them. Last week, out of the blue, sister-in-law unblocked me on social media and sent me a message asking if we could meet and talk. She said she wanted to clear the air and move forward. I'm hesitant and honestly don't know what to do. I talked with my family about it. My mom thinks I should go but warns me to be cautious and not to trust her fully. My dad says it's up to me but advises that I should protect my own well-being first. Part of me wants to meet her to see if we can resolve this tension because I need to mend my relationship with my brother. But another part of me is afraid that this could be another setup or that she will somehow twist the situation to make her the victim again. So folks, what should I do? Should I meet with her and hear her out? Or should I keep my distance to protect myself from more potential drama? Update. Hey everyone, here's what went down after my first post. So, I decided to meet with my sister-in-law to see if we could mend fences. We met at a local cafe, and from the get-go, the atmosphere was strained. She attempted some small talk, commenting on the weather and the decor, but it felt forced. After a few minutes, she sighed and said, "Let's just get to it." She then brought up that we had gotten off on the wrong foot. I thought we were finally on the right track and thought she might apologize for how things unfolded, especially around the wedding, but instead of apologizing, she said, "There were faults on both sides, and we both could have handled things better." I was taken aback. I responded, "I appreciate you wanting to talk, but I honestly don't see what I did wrong, from my perspective. I've tried to be respectful and accommodating." She frowned and said, "See, that's the problem. You think you're blameless. You've been cold and unwelcoming since day one. You and your family have treated me like an outsider." I tried to stay calm and replied, "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I've never intended to make you feel unwelcome. I'm naturally a quiet person, and I thought you understood that." She then proposed inviting me and my parents over to their place to start over. Given everything that had happened, I felt it would be better to take things slow. I suggested that perhaps she and I could work on our relationship first before involving the whole family. She didn't take this well. Her demeanor shifted and she became pushy, insisting that we needed to fix things immediately. When I didn't agree to her plan, she grew agitated and started raising her voice. She accused me of ruining her life, saying she hated me, my mom, my dad, and our entire family. I was shocked and embarrassed. People were starting to look and she kept going off at me. I decided it was best to leave. When I got home, I told my parents everything that had happened. They were both upset and angry. My mom was furious, saying that sister-in-law's behavior was unacceptable and that perhaps we needed to distance ourselves even more. Now I'm left feeling conflicted and saddened. I had hoped that meeting with her might lead to some form of reconciliation, but it seems to have only made things worse. I miss my brother, but he hasn't reached out to me throughout this whole ordeal, which adds to the hurt. So I'm undecided on what to do next. Part of me wants to reach out to my brother directly, but I'm afraid it might escalate the situation further. Another part of me thinks it's time to accept that I can't fix this and focus on my own well-being. Final update. Hey everyone. First, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you who offered advice, shared personal stories, and provided support. It's been incredibly helpful. A few days after the incident at the cafe, my dad decided to reach out to my brother. They hadn't spoken much since the wedding fiasco, but my dad felt it was time to try and mend some bridges. To our surprise, my brother answered the call. According to my dad, as soon as they started talking about everything that's happened, my brother broke down in tears. He confessed that he's been deeply unhappy with how things have unfolded. He said he's upset not only about the wedding drama, but also about how sister-in-law has handled the entire situation with our family. He admitted that sister-in-law's actions have effectively torpedoed his relationship with us. He told my dad that he gave sister-in-law an ultimatum. Either she makes genuine efforts to repair the damage with our family, or he's considering leaving the marriage. This revelation explained why sister-in-law suddenly wanted to meet with me and clear the air. My dad was really distressed and invited him to come back home for a while to take a breather. He assured him that we all love him and want the best for him. A couple of hours later, my brother showed up at our doorstep with a duffel bag. He looked exhausted and emotionally drained. It was an emotional reunion. Even my mom, who had been so angry, softened when she saw the state he was in. Over the next few days, we had several long conversations. My brother opened up about his relationship with sister-in-law. He said that from early on she was very controlling. She didn't like him spending time with us even before they were married. She would get upset if he mentioned family gatherings and often discouraged him from attending. She was loud and would talk over him and made it hard for him to express himself. He confessed that he felt isolated but foolishly went ahead with the marriage. Unfortunately, they only worsened. He realized that sister-in-law's attempt to exclude me from the wedding and enforce those ridiculous conditions was part of a larger pattern of controlling behavior. He told us that he feels torn. On one hand, he made a commitment to his wife. On the other hand, he's miserable and regrets marrying her. My dad suggested that he consider seeing a therapist to help sort out his feelings and make the best decision for himself. My brother agreed that professional help might be beneficial. Meanwhile, sister-in-law has been blowing up his phone with calls and texts. She's accusing us of trying to steal him away and is adamant that we are the problem. She even showed up outside our house a couple of times and wanted to see him. We have tried to keep things civil, but it's been stressful. My mom is adamant that my brother should leave sister-in-law. She believes that the relationship is toxic and that his well-being is at stake. However, we've made it clear that the decision is ultimately his to make, and we will support him no matter what. As of now, my brother is still undecided about what to do. He's staying with us while he figures things out. We are giving him the space and support he needs. He thinks there might be a chance to salvage their marriage if sister-in-law agrees to get help. He thinks she has loads of mental health issues stemming from a bad childhood. I haven't had any contact with sister-in-law since our last meeting. Given everything that's happened, I think it's best to maintain that distance. I sincerely hope my brother gets out of this toxic situation and annuls the marriage. There's still time for that. Again, thanks everybody for letting me vent.